YouTube is being overrun with hate groups, is being destroyed by its own shorts program, and content creators are suffering from a recession at the same time. So let's talk about why your favorite content creators across the board are suffering and dying right now. Welcome everyone to Powered by Rainbows. I'm of course your host, Professor Pride. And today's episode is a little bit different from our normal LGBTQ education every single week on our channel. So just bear with us for a moment because we wanted to dive into the numbers and show you exactly why your favorite content creators across the board are changing everything they're doing right now. They're suffering greatly and we wanted to show you why they're dying anyway. So you may not know why, and we wanted to dive into that. So we actually surveyed literally dozens upon dozens upon dozens of content creators across the board, from the biggest on the channel like Mr. Beast to the smallest on the entire platform, even smaller than us right now. So we've surveyed all of these channels to find the data of how bad they are suffering and what exactly is happening on YouTube. Now, you might think that being a YouTuber is easy, and that's why a couple weeks ago we dived into being a YouTuber and everything it entails of making a normal episode, of literally the tens of thousands of dollars it costs to have a TV studio like this, to have teleprompters, to have 30 researchers and writers behind the show to make the script for our weekly episodes. And we are not alone in this. Many content creators across the board have teams of people to make what they do happen. And not all of them are paid pretty well. I mean, LGBTQ creators are paid 1/5 of any other content creators across the board. And so you start asking, how in the world can we afford to do this? And literally spend 40 hours every week making one single video for all of you to enjoy. It's a very hard job, but a lot of content creators across the board are doing it even though they're suffering greatly right now. So again, like I said, we surveyed literally dozens upon dozens of channels in every single genre of YouTube, and we asked the question of how are they doing right now? So what we did was we went to Social Blade, a website that allows you to look at the analytics of almost any channel, and really the only discrepancy they have is the revenue. It's very vague in what they say the revenue for a channel is yearly, even though it's massively off the mark. But I will say the viewership and subscriber counts are actually on point of how many views and subscribers does a channel get every month. So we looked at the analytics of how every single one of these channels did in 2021, in June and July of that last year, and we compared those numbers to June and July of this year to see how much creators are actually hurting this year compared to last year. How bad is the recession on YouTube? So what we found was that between last year and this year, education channels on YouTube are actually down in viewership 17.15% on average in viewership, and down 36.96% in subscriber counts compared to last year, and how many subscribers each channel has gained last year and this year. We compared those numbers. So they're massively down. In gaming content, like Minecraft, GTA, doesn't really matter what game you're talking about. We surveyed dozens of gaming content creators to find what the real numbers are here, and on average, they are down in viewership 13.89%. They are down in subscriber counts 46.83%. In lifestyle channels, where they talk about how to better your life and just everyday vlogs, they are down 61.85% in viewership, down 50% in subscriber counts. Furry content creators like Fluke, Ash Coyote, and more are down 66.1% in viewership, down 50% in subscriber counts. Family content, weirdly here, is actually up 70.49% in viewership and up 25,000% in subscriber counts compared to last year. So what this means is basically families are looking for more family-friendly content compared to education, gaming, lifestyle, or any other metric here. A lot of advertisers like family-friendly content because it's safe content compared to other things we're going to talk about in a second here. Comedy is down 18.89% in viewership and up 0.86% in subscriber count. So it means basically people aren't really watching, but those that are watching are subscribing a little bit on to their favorite comedians, let's say, right? News on the channel. So when you're searching for like war in Ukraine, the entire pandemic, when you're searching for things like, LGBTQ rights or Roe versus Wade, anything news related is actually up 22.38% in viewership, but down 50.01% in subscriber counts. So that means basically people are searching for the news that day, but they're not subscribing to news channels to find out what the news is tomorrow. They literally only care about the news today and what they found in a headline, right? So on YouTube, news is up in viewership, but down in subscribers. When we look at technical things like searching for which camera is best or which computer is best, that kind of stuff, those kind of tech creators are up 38.82% in viewership, but again, down 50% even in subscriber counts. So basically it means a lot of people with the pandemic are working from home right now, and so they're looking for more cameras for their computers or looking for better computers and hardware to better their system at home. So yes, viewership is going to be up in those metrics, but they're not subscribing for future content from those creators. So basically it means I care about buying a computer right now, but next week I'm going to buy my computer, so I don't really need this advice in the future. So that's, again, a little bit understandable in their industry, but again, still kind of odd to see that they're down in subscribers compared to last year. When we look at YouTube help channels, for instance, Nick Neiman, when we look at channel makers, and literally we even surveyed YouTube's own content creator help channel on YouTube, their own channel that they put out and publish. When we look at those channels, they are up in viewership 25.14%, and they are up in subscriber counts 67.41% compared to last year in subscriber counts. So literally, YouTube content creators are suffering greatly right now, and that alone shows you that it's happening. That YouTube content creators are searching for other people to show them what they're doing wrong, how to make better thumbnails, how to make better videos, how to edit their channel better. Can I upgrade my camera? Could it help my channel if I have better quality video or audio? How do I know the algorithm and tag my video? All this kind of stuff is stuff people are searching for right now, of how do I improve my content? Because here's what happens behind the scenes of YouTube. Whenever your numbers are down, there's a little icon that appears above your analytics of your little graph of how your channel is doing. And it's literally an education little bubble that says, hey, right now your channel isn't doing so hot, so learn how to improve. And almost every time YouTube keeps saying, well, you didn't publish enough videos this month compared to what you did last month, and your videos may not have performed as well because the retention rate wasn't as good or whatever. Literally, every single time YouTube keeps saying it's your fault as a content creator that your channel isn't doing well, that maybe you need better thumbnails, maybe take a class on how to edit your videos better, and maybe, that would improve your retention rate. Maybe you need to do better topics, that way more people like it or more people comment. Literally, that's what they do. There's a little icon that tells you every single time, oh, you're not doing so great right now. And anytime you have a video that's put out, it literally compares that video to the last 9 other videos you put out. And it sees minute by minute how well that video is performing compared to your last 9 uploads. And so it ranks it 1 out of 10. How well is this video doing compared to other videos you just put out on your channel? Well, the problem with that is that when a video is not performing well, it keeps saying, oh, your viewership is down in the first hour of putting a video out. Well, maybe my viewers don't really like watching a video as soon as it comes out. Maybe they would like watching it later in the day. Maybe they're putting it on their watch later playlist on their channel so that they can watch it later in the day when they have more time. But YouTube doesn't care about that. They send you this little bubble and an email saying, hey, maybe you can improve your content, when in truth, a lot bigger things are happening right now. And if literally all of this is happening for the biggest content creators across the platform in every single genre of YouTube, it's not really you doing anything wrong as a content creator. It's YouTube doesn't have the views to give you. And we'll explain all that in a later part of this episode, in the recession part. But when we look at those numbers are up because YouTube content creators are asking for help from other channels and from YouTube itself. They're searching for a way to improve their own content when they don't realize they've already got perfect content. It's not them that's the problem. It's not the content creator that's the problem. It's literally how many views are there to go around. And we'll talk about that. LGBTQ channels like ours and many, many others are up in viewership 87.23% in viewership, but down 38.86% in subscribers. So again, this might be something where a lot of in the closet people might not be subscribing to a channel, but they still want to watch. But I will say on this, I know why that number is so high in the viewership is because literally we included Jimmy Dodger in our metric for that. So Jimmy Dodger did so well in June that it literally boosted everyone else's numbers. Every single other LGBTQ content creator that we put in here that we can find on YouTube, literally everyone was down in viewership this year compared to last year, except for Jimmy Dodger. And Jimmy Dodger did so well that it brought that average way up to 87%. So literally his channel and his channel alone. So what we're finding with those numbers is it's pretty bad to see most LGBTQ content creators getting lower, but it fits with the rest of YouTube right now. So you might say, well, LGBTQ people are just not being searched for, or maybe the number of subscribers we have on our channel right now is the most we're gonna get. No, it's because literally everything else on the platform is down right now. So no one is getting the views. Not lifestyle, not family content, not comedy, not news. Everything else is down pretty much. So LGBTQ people are, content creators are down as well. When we look at Mr. Beast specifically, one of the top 5 content creators on the entire network of YouTube, even his channel is down 14.44% compared to what it did last year in viewership. But he is up 29.03% in subscribers. Now, why is this? Well, Mr. Beast just hit 100 million subscribers, and what pretty much happened there was YouTube saw it was really close to hitting 100 million subscribers on his channel, and they're like, hey, we'll send you viewers that are definitely going to subscribe, but overall people are just watching one video, subscribing, and leaving it go, because everyone wanted to see him hit 100 million. So he hit 100 million, and now we're going to see in the next year how well his channel performs on viewership. But that's why his subscriber count is up 29.03%, even though his views are down massively compared to last year. But when we look at YouTube Shorts creators specifically, literally the 1 minute or less videos that are shot vertically and pop up on your phone just like TikTok. Literally, YouTube Shorts is an answer for TikTok platform, right? So when we look at Shorts creators that only make YouTube Shorts and do not make longer form content or landscape content, they only make portrait content, right? They are down 28.38% in viewership, but they are up 9.66% in subscribers. So they're being pushed to subscribers, but again, their views are pretty well down compared to what they were last year. When we look at Powered by Rainbow specifically on our channel, I'm not going to tell you the specific numbers of what we're seeing behind the scenes because that would not be helpful. A lot of hate groups would see our numbers and go, oh wow, we're winning. Like, we've been targeted by Matthew Walsh, a bunch of people across the platform recently. I think it's been like 5 creators have been targeting us specifically and calling us evil for just teaching how normal it is to be LGBTQ. So we've been targeted quite heavily in the past couple months. But, so I'm not going to share with you those numbers specifically because they'll be like, oh my God, we won. And we're actually beating Matt. It's not that. Honestly, we're doing just as badly as any other genre on YouTube when we look at any other metric here. So at least here's what you can find on your own if you were to search for our numbers on Social Blade and other websites. We are down 82.53% in viewership this year compared to last year, and we are down in subscriber counts 95.27% in subscriber counts compared to what we got last year. So that's why in May, when we hit 97,000 subscribers, I sort of told my entire team, hey, if we don't hit 100,000 subscribers by June 1st, it's a problem. There's a problem on YouTube, and it's not with LGBTQ content creators. It's not with just us. It is literally YouTube that is the problem. Because last year, we hit like almost 1 million views in June and July. So this year we were thinking, hey, by those analytics, we should, in every metric that we studied, our numbers told us we should have done at least 2 million views in June and 1 million views in July, because they are the 2 highest months for us in viewership, revenue, subscribers, everything. It is how the platform works. People search for LGBTQ content more in June and July than they do any other time of the year. So we should hit 2 million views and 1 million views in June and July. So 3 million views, and we should hit tens of thousands of dollars in revenue to enable us to make more content in the future. Literally every dollar that we get in revenue, from merchandise to memberships to ad revenue, every single dollar that we get is literally spent on making more LGBTQ education and resources in the future. We have weekly episodes that come out. This operation cost tens of thousands of dollars a year to run. It is not cheap. So, plus we have a huge staff to help. So, literally, those numbers are how we did compared to how YouTube did. I will say we're singling out our channel, and we haven't really singled out any other channels like, Jelly or Slogo in the gaming content. We haven't really singled out GMM, Good Mythical Morning, or, in family content, or we haven't singled out Philip DeFranco in news and stuff. But truly, that's, we have the data on it, but this is the averages. So we're just telling you how we're doing compared to the average LGBTQ channel or average other genre channels. Weirdly here, there's one genre of YouTube that is doing well, other than family content. Family content is safe for advertisers. So let's put it this way. If you were YouTube and you were given $1,000 to put out an ad on something, would you rather spend that $1,000 on content like news, where that creator could talk about the war in Ukraine, Roe versus Wade, literally any news story that happens tomorrow? It's not safe to put your money there because the advertiser, these big corporations, may not like their money and their ad being put on a video that talks about the war in Ukraine. Even though they might support Ukraine all they want to, but they don't want to put their advertising dollars on that video because it ties them to something that they don't want to be tied to. It's a lot more unsafe for an advertiser. So advertisers and these big corporations that advertise on YouTube, they want family-friendly content, something that is very safe for them, like Good Mythical Morning, like a YouTuber making Legos like Half Asleep Chris, something where it's very, very safe to put their ads on, that no one's going to get upset at them putting their ads on those videos. They pretty much know at YouTube, if we put an ad on Good Mythical Morning or Half Asleep Chris, these content creators are very safe. Tomorrow's video is going to be very safe for advertisers. No advertiser is going to be upset with us. But if we put our ads on a video about news like Philip DeFranco, well, today's video was safe, but You never know what the news might hit tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow, Philip DeFranco is going to talk about a mass shooting somewhere in America, and that's not really safe for advertisers to put their money on. So they are reluctant to put their money on news content creators like that, including LGBTQ. LGBTQ content is very unstable for advertisers because not everyone agrees that humans should all have the same equal rights. Not everyone agrees that people deserve, decency and deserve to love who they love and be the gender they were always meant to be. Not everyone believes that, shockingly. It's weird, but not everyone believes that. So advertisers are not so willing to put their money on creators like PBR, Jemmy Dodger, and others. They're not so willing to do that. And so you see the numbers for family content going up in viewership and up in subscribers because that is safe content. That is going to be the last sort of genre on YouTube to fall. If YouTube falls as a whole platform, family content is going to be the last sort of genre on the platform to actually fall to abysmal numbers, because it's the safest for advertisers to put their money on. But weirdly, hate groups on the channel, on the platform of YouTube, are incredibly doing well right now. We literally surveyed dozens of each of these genres, and overall, an average hate group is up 290%, 290.29% on viewership. They are up on average. They are also up 265.86% on average in subscriber counts compared to last year. So they are doing massively well right now on the platform. Why? Well, it's not family-friendly content. Hate groups are hate groups for a reason. No one likes watching hate group stuff except for people that hate. So advertisers like Walmart, Google, Amazon, they don't really like putting their money in advertising on hate groups videos. But if you notice, if you ever watch a hate group video, like those from, Matthew Walsh, Focus on the Family, 1 Million Moms, PragerU, if you ever watch those content creators on the platform that are stemmed in hate content, you notice something odd about those channels. Unlike every other channel on the platform, they don't really rely on advertisers. They don't really have 2-3 videos before their video starts. They don't have videos as you're watching that interrupt the episode you're watching and just show you 2-3 ads in the middle of a video. They don't have advertisers at the end of all of their videos either. And you start to wonder how can they make this amount of content with this level of production quality without getting advertiser revenue? And the truth is they're not really making advertiser revenue. What they care about is donations. So when they rile up an audience and they say, hey, everyone hate on the LGBTQ or everyone hate on whatever, right? They're making revenue in other ways. Like PragerU just announced an entire educational platform of their own that teaches kids how to be more religious and teaches kids how to be homophobic and how to be transphobic. They literally just created an entire platform and sponsored the hell out of it on a network like Fox News. They take their videos, they put them on YouTube, right? And they're able to do animations, which is the most expensive kind of content to make in video production world. Animation is extremely expensive for what it is compared to just having someone on camera talk, right? But they're able to make all these animation videos and tons of them. But the weird part is they're not putting them on YouTube to just exist on their own channels. They're putting them on YouTube and then paying YouTube as an advertiser themselves to target channels like ours. So, for instance, we actually had to block Matthew Walsh, Focus on the Family, PragerU, and many others from advertising on our channel because hate groups like that and people like that would create content, make a video on it, and then all of a sudden take thousands of dollars, put it on YouTube's advertising campaign, and then send that video specifically to our channel and say, we want to sponsor Powered by Rainbows, and we want to put all of our videos in front of PBR's videos. Why? Well, because they pretty much know that people are coming to our platform asking for help and advice. People that are not out of the closet yet are wondering, is it a sin to be gay? And so suddenly, before they watch our episode showing you how it's not a sin to be gay in any major religion of the world, you're seeing an ad by PragerU telling you, yeah, it's a sin, even though it's not. You know, before our episode of how normal being transgender is, you're forced to watch an ad from Matthew Walsh telling you how, oh my God, science is horrible, and, you know, we shouldn't listen to science, and how being transgender is completely invalid, even though he doesn't really know what he's talking about. So you see an ad like this before a video like mine, and yeah, you could argue that a channel like mine does benefit from those hate groups and hate people putting ads before my videos. But my audience doesn't benefit from that, so I don't want to take that advertising dollar from a crazy person that's calling me evil in their video. I don't want to take that advertising dollar. I want to take normal advertising dollars from pro-LGBTQ organizations that actually support and know science is real, you know? So that's what we're doing, right? So we block those kind of people from advertising because we don't know if it's your first time watching our channel and you're forced to watch a hate group or hate person video before our video, that's the information you're getting first. And so if you're searching for content on how to come out of the closet or how to overcome depression and self-harm, we've literally had hate groups target our episode on how to overcome depression and self-harm before and put a video of how wrong it is to be LGBTQ in front of our video. So you as a person might be searching for, how do I overcome depression? I'm, depressed, I'm a little bit suicidal, and I'm looking for ways to help with this matter because my family doesn't support me for being LGBTQ like they should. And so you're forced to watch a PragerU ad. Like we've literally had groups target that video before. And that is where we're at in humanity. And that's why YouTube doesn't really care about their content being on the platform, because in the end, they're receiving advertiser dollars from PragerU, from Matthew Walsh, from these people, and from these hate groups. And so all of a sudden, they're allowed to be on the platform. They're allowed to be on YouTube in general. And they're growing because they're advertising everywhere they possibly can with all of their money. They rely on donations. And so the more that they can put out their content to more people, the more people hopefully go to their website and buy some merchandise or donate to their cause, right? And they're somewhat mostly nonprofit organizations that are able to take donations like this. So they're taking thousands in revenue and donations, so they don't really care about the minuscule amount they're getting from advertiser revenue. So they don't even put ads on a majority of their videos. They don't care about advertiser revenue because they're getting money and donations elsewhere. And that money is enabling them to make more content per week. Certain people we know make 5 episodes a week of hate content, and we're only able to put out 1 episode on a Friday. So obviously they have more content to put out, and they're advertising that content across the whole platform. So of course they're getting more views and subscribers because they're riling up their base and hate and literal hate speech on the platform. And YouTube allows them to run away with it because in the end, they're receiving revenue for doing it. So that is why hate groups are sort of overrunning YouTube right now. We also did a comparison of, we looked at the top 5 videos published in the last month on every one of these dozens upon dozens upon dozens of channels in every genre, right? We looked at the top 5 videos published in the last month and compared them to the top 5 videos published last year. That way it was a fair and even contest between 2021 and 2022, right? When we compared those numbers, we found that literally only 2 genres on YouTube are actually up in viewership this year, which means they're up in revenue as well. So in education, viewership between last year and this year is down this year 28.34%. In gaming content, it is down 56.55%. In lifestyle channels, they are down 55.56%. Furry content creators are down 48.07%. Family content is down 31.3%. Comedy channels are down 59.12%. News is down 10.93% compared to last year. Tech channels are down 48.41%. YouTube help channels, including YouTube's own channel itself, is down 38.34% from last year. LGBTQ channels are down 29.09% from last year. Mr. Beast is down 32.22% from last year. Powered by Rainbows, we are down 66.31% from last year when comparing our top 5 videos from the past month to the top 5 videos of last year. Hate groups, weirdly, are up 5.29%. So they are one of the only 2 genres across all of YouTube that are actually up this year. I should probably mention, in the education channels, we did include like farming, we did include like gardening kind of videos, remaking your home kind of channels. That kind of stuff is all included in education, by the way. So it's not like we just took certain genres, literally. We tried to create a even survey of as many types of channels as possible, and we grouped them into as few groups as we could to make this video easier to make. But hate groups are up 5.29% this year compared to last year when you look at the top 5 videos in both last year and this past month. So hate groups are growing on YouTube, and it's a massive problem. But even more of a problem is YouTube Shorts program. Now, they are actually, YouTube short creators overall are on average up this year in viewership 26.73% in that survey. So let's look at the YouTube Shorts program. It is an answer for TikTok. So TikTok, the app, was created and released in September of 2016. The YouTube Shorts program was the answer YouTube had for that, and that was released April 11th of 2022. So literally only a couple months ago, they rolled out YouTube Shorts program, right? Well, why did they do this? Why did YouTube roll out a new program to compete against TikTok when the active users on TikTok currently are 1 billion active users on TikTok right now? Facebook has 2.9 billion active users. YouTube has 2.2 billion active users. Instagram, 1.4 billion. Twitter, 397 million. So that's actually a lot less than I thought it was. I thought Twitter was a lot larger of a platform than it is. But I should note that Facebook does own Instagram, so they're kind of like almost the same thing. But overall, we're looking at every other social media platform on that list of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. They're all bigger than TikTok. So, like, why are you trying to compete against TikTok? If you notice recently, Instagram has Instagram Reels. Facebook created their own vertical video format on their platform to compete against TikTok. YouTube created the YouTube Shorts program to compete against TikTok. Everyone's trying to compete against TikTok. Why? Why would you try to compete against TikTok when you have over double their active users? Literally, over double. Why would you try to compete against someone way smaller than you, right? Well, that comes down to the average time spent on the platform. So TikTok users overall, on average, spend 52 minutes, with 90% of active users opening up the app every single day. So on average, TikTok users spend 52 minutes on the platform. YouTube users spend 44 minutes on the platform before clicking off to something else. Facebook they spend 35 minutes on the platform. Instagram, they spend 33 minutes on the platform before clicking off. So TikTok has a much bigger hold on society than YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Why? Well, yeah, it's because the younger generations have a shorter attention span, so a 3-minute or less video is a lot more enticing for them to watch. Why would you watch a 10-minute video on YouTube to learn something when you can learn the same thing in a 3-minute or less video on TikTok? That's why there was a recent study, and 80% of those under 11 years old, I believe it was, get all of their news from TikTok nowadays. What? Like, TikTok has such a hold on the younger generations because it's shorter form content. It's more content that you can just scroll right through. If you're not interested in it, you can scroll to the next thing, no problem at all. YouTube, it takes a couple clicks to do that. You have to X off the video, go back to the last page, find something else, search for something else. TikTok, it's literally scroll up and it recommends something else. And it actually takes all of that data and tells you what you like eventually. So your For You page on TikTok, eventually it learns what you like. Of you clicked off this video before it was over, so obviously you don't like that content too much. Let's recommend something else. Let's try something new. How much do you like this other piece of content? If you like it, you're going to watch it all the way through. Okay, we'll recommend more of that to you in the future. That's the way TikTok's algorithm works. It's how YouTube Shorts program works. It's how Instagram Reels program works in the algorithm. So TikTok is able to keep you there longer because everything is shorter. And by the time you hit 52 minutes on average, you don't realize it's been 52 minutes. You don't realize it's been almost an hour I'm on this platform because everything I'm watching is a minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minutes at a time. Everything I'm watching is very, very short. Typically, most bigger TikTok videos are less than a minute or less than 30 seconds even. So you're not noticing it go by faster because you're able to just scroll to the next video. And so that is what is scaring YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram and making all of them change their entire platform to fit TikTok. They're trying to compete against TikTok when TikTok does it a hell of a lot better. Now, you might argue TikTok is owned by a Chinese company and it's controlled by the Chinese government. So yeah, it does collect data for the Chinese government. Like, that's pretty much well known-ish on most platforms of, yeah, there's data being collected. It's only TikTok that's like, yeah, it's pretty much the Chinese government. And that's why a lot of platforms are afraid of putting it on their app store, like iOS or Android app stores. That's why a lot of them are afraid of that. But I will say, everyone's trying to compete against a new platform. And yes, that's not necessarily completely unfounded because, I mean, Facebook competed against MySpace and MySpace is now dead. So Facebook was a lot smaller than MySpace and now MySpace is dead and Facebook has 2.9 billion users. Yeah, obviously you're going to, be afraid of a new platform coming up. But YouTube had its hold on adults in many countries. Most adults get their news and their entertainment from YouTube. See, before a video, you can put ads, you can put videos, any video longer than 8 minutes. If you're a part of the YouTube Partner Program, you can put mid-roll ads on your video. So every couple minutes, your video gets interrupted by an ad, and you're able to have your audience watch an ad that brings in a majority of the revenue on that video is from the mid-roll ads. Then they can also have ads after the video. They can put ads on the YouTube cards. They can put ads underneath the video. Literally, creators can put ads wherever the hell they want to. Plus putting their own merchandise underneath the video and putting an entire store below that now where they can recommend products to you to buy elsewhere on the platform that YouTube content creators get a percentage of that sale then. Well, the problem is YouTube content creators that have longer form content like 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and longer, who wants to watch a 10-minute video on something when there's another content creator elsewhere on the platform that makes a video less than a minute talking about the same thing? So let's talk about this Shorts program because basically it is the competitor for TikTok. Even though TikTok does it better, they have an entire app dedicated to just seeing vertical short form content, And yeah, they're able to have their average viewers spend more time on their app as a result. But TikTok creators aren't paid near as well because the advertising dollars are not there on TikTok. The YouTube advertisers like spending money on YouTube because they can take the same exact landscape video advertising they do on TV and elsewhere, and they can take that ad, put it on Facebook, Instagram, put it on YouTube, and it's the same exact landscape way. They can take the same exact ad and put it on YouTube. That's what they like. They don't have to create an entire ad just for one platform. Now with TikTok, they do. So advertisers aren't really happy with having to create an entirely different ad just for TikTok in vertical format. So not as many advertisers are there as a result. Plus, a whole lot of people aren't really happy that they're sort of tied with China. So a lot of advertisers don't want to put their money in TikTok. They'd rather put their money on YouTube. Plus, on TikTok, you only can see so many ads. So every so many videos, you're going to get an ad, but it's going to interrupt your flow of how that home screen goes for you. Whereas on YouTube, you can literally put like 10 ads on every single video every user watches. So advertisers love it. YouTube loves it. Creators love it. Literally, they had an amazing thing going. Then they introduced the Shorts program. And when they introduced it, it wasn't an entirely separate app to sort of compete with TikTok. They created, like YouTube has created apps in the past to compete with other platforms. They've created YouTube Kids to compete against other platforms. And, regardless of whether it worked or not, it was its own platform. So if advertisers liked it, they could advertise on that platform instead of YouTube regular app. Now, YouTube decided, we're not going to do that this time. We're going to change everything you know about your app. So when you open up YouTube on your phone or your computer, literally the first thing you see many times is the YouTube Shorts program, literally taking up most of your screen. So when you're opening this up, you think, oh, hey, this is what YouTube algorithm thinks that I want to see. Chances are you want to see it because the literal algorithm behind YouTube knows quite a bit about you from what you've watched everything in the past. Like, it takes a lot of data in of who you are, where you're from, what your income is, what you like to watch, what you scroll past, how much watch time you have on every video. So literally, percentage-wise, how much are you interested in this topic compared to that topic? It knows millions of points of data on you. So it can tell you, hey, maybe this YouTube short is something you're interested in. So now a regular video from PBR or any other education channel or even family-friendly content is now lower on your screen below that YouTube Shorts program. So even if we're talking about the same exact topic, do you want to spend 10 minutes learning about something, or do you want to spend less than a minute learning about it? And so it competes actively with every other content creator. Every content creator on YouTube was doing pretty much the same thing of making long-form landscape videos, talking about some things, having discussions. We had debates on channels before. We had long conversations about things. You could not just learn the basics of a topic, you can learn everything you need to know about that topic. A lot of our users came to our channel looking for advice on how to come out. If you have a minute-long video, I cannot teach you the 35 tips to coming out. If you have a minute video, I cannot teach you 110 tips on how to overcome depression and self-harm in a 1-minute video. I cannot possibly do that. That's impossible. So now, what do content creators have to do? Well, now that YouTube Shorts program is created, it's all users are seeing. In fact, on YouTube alone, there are 2 billion active users every month. 1.5 billion of them, logged in users, are now watching YouTube Shorts. So 75% of the audience is watching YouTube Shorts. Now, that's crazy because you took the platform that worked perfectly before, was making billions of dollars a year, And now you said, hey, let's compete against this TikTok platform that's smaller, and let's change everything about our app to do it. So now 75% of our audience is watching something less than a minute long instead of watching a 10-minute video where I can put 10 ads on that if I wanted, So rather than making literally hundreds of dollars of video for every content creator, now you can only put one ad every couple of videos that people watch, so a whole lot less money there. And so YouTube created a fund for Shorts creators. It was called the YouTube Shorts Creator Fund. And so it paid creators to make shorts. They brought in TikTok creators and they said, upload videos to us, to our platform instead. So they did it. And they spent a bunch of money getting YouTube Shorts creators on the platform. But all it did was take away views from longer form content creators. Like I said before, literally, people will only spend an average of 44 minutes on YouTube before they click off of the app in general to go somewhere else. So if you're only spending 44 minutes on the app and you're watching a bunch of 1 minute long videos, every single video you watch over here on the YouTube Shorts program, it's taking away a minute that you can watch a longer form video. And so now, by the time that 44 minutes comes, chances are you've watched about 30 minutes or so of YouTube Shorts, and you're like, hey, I only have like 15 minutes left of that average time to spend on another video. Chances are most people that go onto YouTube only ever watch shorts and then get bored, click off. They never watch the regular content. Now, when it was rolled out, YouTube told creators point blank that YouTube Shorts was only here to help the longer form content. They, in fact, did something very sneaky behind the scenes. So they created Clips, YouTube Clips program, where every video you have on your entire channel was automatically enrolled in YouTube Clips. So that way, when, let's say I upload a video that's 10 minutes long, any user out there could clip out a section of my video and share it as a YouTube short on their platform. Now, it was never really clearly said who would get the advertising revenue from that. So you're the one that made the clip in the YouTube short on your channel, but it's content that originally was on my channel. So YouTube never really told creators who would get the advertising revenue from that secondary video, because technically it's my content that I uploaded, but technically it's a YouTube short that you created as a user. So they never really said who's going to get the advertising revenue, and that's why we, behind the scenes, spent literally, I think, 2 days behind the scenes going through each individual video on our entire channel so far and opting out of that service of a YouTube Clips program. So that way users could not do that to any of our videos. And for a long time there, we could not automatically make it so that our videos weren't enrolled in that program. We had to, when we're uploading each and every episode, enroll in that program on every video. Recently, they just created a way that we can automatically do it, but wow, it took a long time for that. And they finally said, that the actual original content creator gets the ad revenue from that. So when you create a YouTube clip off of a creator, the ad revenue from that goes to the actual original user that created the entire long form video. Now, they promised us that creating YouTube Shorts programs wouldn't hurt main content. It would only be there to complement it. So if we have a hour-long podcast, let's say, you could clip out a minute of that video of the highlight or something, right? And you could upload it as a YouTube short. And now it goes out to users and says, hey, this is just a highlight of this long podcast, so go watch that, Or let's talk about this topic for 20 minutes of LGBTQ books in libraries being banned. And you can create a YouTube short of less than a minute talking about a highlight of that episode. And now whenever someone watches that YouTube short, they're encouraged to go watch the main episode that's a much longer form of that. And they know it's just a highlight. But the problem was, behind the scenes, the YouTube algorithm team didn't really know how to work with that. So YouTube said, we're going to do these amazing things and make it basically like an advertising program for creators to get their longer form content out there. But the algorithm team itself has admitted they never did that. So basically, whenever you started watching YouTube Shorts on the program, that's what YouTube thought you liked. The analytics behind what you enjoy as a user on the platform, the algorithm started to think you like watching less than a minute long videos. It started to assume that you don't like watching 10-minute long videos. So even if the clip that you were watching was a highlight of a longer form content on the same channel, it wasn't suggesting to you that you subscribe to that channel to get the longer form content of that same clip. It wasn't suggesting to you to go watch the longer form of that content because it now thinks you like scrolling through 1 minute long videos or less. YouTube's algorithm never put the two together. The team said that they're trying to do this, but the algorithm team themselves, just like 2 weeks ago at VidCon, came out and said the algorithm itself never told users to go from the YouTube Shorts program to the longer form content on your channel. It never linked the two. And so when you enjoyed a video in the YouTube Shorts program, all it did was say, hey, I liked a shorter form video. So if you interacted with the shorter form video on the YouTube Shorts program, like commented or liked that video, that's all it did was say, hey, let's recommend that person more YouTube Shorts because they like shorter form content. It never told you there's a longer form content of that same clip that you should go watch, or that creator uploads longer form content. Maybe you'll enjoy that too, you know? It never did that. It only ever showed you shorter form content because now you expressed interest to YouTube in only shorter form content. The more time you spent on YouTube Shorts program to watch shorter form content, the more it recommended shorter videos to you, and the less it recommended the longer form content. But all of the problems on YouTube don't stem entirely from the Shorts program, though. Most of the problems stem from the recession. Now, what you should know before we get into this is a lot of creators were doing very well during the pandemic of 2020 through 2022. During the coronavirus pandemic, people were at home more, and whether we like to admit it or not, creators on YouTube and online retailers loved the pandemic because literally people were home. They couldn't go out to stores to buy things, so they were buying more things online. But they were also at home more. They weren't going to school, they weren't going to work in person, so they had more time at home to watch streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and yes, YouTube. So YouTube content creators did magnificent over the entire pandemic. So that begs the question of why didn't that continue after the pandemic was pretty much over? And that stems from the recession itself. And whether the politicians like to admit it or not, we are actually going through a recession in America right now in the United States. Because a recession, by definition, is a period of temporary economic decline during which trade and industrial activity are reduced, generally identified by a fall in the GDP in 2 consecutive quarters of the year. So basically, we are in a recession right now. A lot of manufacturers aren't building as much stuff because they don't have the employees, because of, them not wanting to pay enough right now. That is why. So inflation is through the roof. The cost of living is through the roof. Gas was at an all-time high recently. You had electricity, water, sewage, all utilities of living for your house are at an all-time high still to this day. Then we look at food cost. Food cost is the number one cost of any household in America. And right now it is through the roof of inflation because manufacturers want to get as much money as possible out of the system. they're not willing to spend enough money to pay for their employees. They're only willing to spend minimum wage most times for most employees. But when we look at this recession, inflation is incredibly high right now for cost of living. And so the American worker doesn't have the money to afford a cost of living. So they're having to, take as many jobs as possible, sometimes up to 3 jobs, all working every day, all day, just to get by. And so the recession is happening because of one simple factor. The American public does not have money to buy goods. So what do I mean by that? Well, basically because inflation is so high, the cost of living is so high, Americans cannot afford the cost of living by itself. So when you only have so much money, you're spending it on, because you're paid the same this year as you were last year or the year before, maybe a tiny raise, but that raise has not been sufficient with inflation. So now you're taking what money you have and you're spending it on electricity, food, water, gas, whatever you have for your house. You're spending it on your household expenses. You don't have that extra income to just spend on frivolous things or things you might want. You don't have money to spend on entertainment. That is why you see there's an amusement park near where we kind of live, like a couple hours away, where they're doing huge things right now, like shutting down entire sections of their park because they don't have the money to pay for those rides to be in operation, and they're not getting as much revenue. They're shutting down entire buildings, remodeling things, thinking that will help, but it's not going to help. People aren't spending money on entertainment right now. It is seen in every aspect of the entertainment industry. So people do not have money to spend on frivolous or secondary things. They only have enough money to buy the things they need to survive to the next day. And so that comes a recession. Because with people not having enough money to afford things, advertisers and big companies don't want to spend their billions of dollars advertising to people that cannot afford to buy the thing that they are advertising. So what sense do they have? What sense does Walmart have right now spending a bunch of money advertising to you to buy something you don't need because you don't have money to buy it anyway? So right now all they're doing is advertising things you need for the cost of living. They're advertising food and sales on drinks and stuff that you need to survive. They're not really advertising to you the things you don't really need. If you notice in advertising, that's happening a lot right now. And so with that, basically they're taking every dollar they can and they're spending it on normal ways of advertising, on TV, on the radio, and so on. YouTube is the smallest part of that. It used to be a big part of advertising because online advertising was great, but now they're not spending as much money on YouTube. And so we have hit a recession in general, where big companies don't want to spend money on advertising because they're not going to get that return, because the American public doesn't have money to afford those things that they are advertising. And so that is why you see in almost every genre across the board, creators are hurting right now. There's not a whole lot of money to go around, and what money is there is going to the safe content, like family creators, like Good Mythical Morning, where if they put out a video, YouTube knows, hey, advertisers are going to be happy with that content. We can put it out and we can put an ad on it, and that advertiser is not going to get mad at us. That's why, even though news is up in viewership a little bit because people want to know what's happening, advertisers aren't putting their money on news right now because it's more unstable of an industry and a genre to talk about. That's why, even though advertisers during Pride Month this year did not want to put money into advertising to LGBTQ people, even though they knew LGBTQ people are going to be searching for this content, they're going to want to buy things, but they didn't put their money on LGBTQ creators in general because they knew that a majority of Americans are still trying to just scrape by and pay for the cost of living. And so you don't really have money to spend on all that rainbow merchandise if you're just trying to afford electricity for your house. And so that is what happened in June and July. Now, sadly, back when we signed the lease for our current apartment, for my boyfriend and myself, we signed it at a point when, honestly, PBR was making good money. It was making enough money to survive on and pay for our crew, pay for the studio, pay for literally every expense that we can think of for the show. And it had enough money to afford, food, electricity, water, gas, internet, all those kind of things. And so, and plus rent for our apartment and our parking spot for our vehicle. And so it had enough money to do that. And honestly, we were expecting this 2 million view June month and 1 million views in July, with enough revenue there that Madhausen Productions, which is my production company that makes all of this, would not have to do another videography job for a corporate client ever again. We thought at 100,000 subscribers, this is going to be big enough and enough revenue that we can live off of this money and actually start doing some bigger things. I will say, with the months we were expecting to have, we had huge plans for our website to create different programs and not just like courses like we do, but literally to help you find LGBTQ friendly organizations and businesses and churches. We had a program to help you do that. We were going to offer it for free. And we had different programs to literally go to many different LGBTQ monuments around the world. And we were going to offer a 3D virtual experience for you. So that way you can go to these places virtually and visit, get interviews with people that know the area, that know the history of the monument or something, and ask them questions. We were going to do all of that so that way you can find all of your resources right here on our website at prideclassroom.com. Then this month this kind of summer became abysmal. Literally, we signed the lease for our apartment back in March, I believe, when things were crazy good for us as a channel, and we expected it to only get better because back then we only had, I think, 75,000 subscribers, and we were expected to hit 100 by June. And so we're like, yeah, June 1st is when our lease for this apartment starts. No problem at all. We're going to have this new apartment. We're going to be able to build it out with a lot of great equipment to build the show, and we're going to be able to do a lot of good things with that money. Literally every single dollar we were going to bring in advertiser revenue, sponsorships, doesn't matter. Every dollar was going to go to building better LGBTQ education on our channels and our website. We're going to build better resources, and we're going to do all of this for the community that gives us so much, and we were going to have enough money to afford the living expenses. All of a sudden, June hits, and the recession hits hard on every kind of content creator you can imagine. Education, gaming, lifestyle, family content, comedy, news, tech, YouTube help channels, literally every kind of content creator you can imagine. Recession hits hard, except for YouTube Shorts and except for hate groups that don't rely on advertiser revenue. So it ended up being, all of these things were put on hold. And all of a sudden, now we're waiting months for a 100,000 subscriber milestone. We know that Jimmy Dodger was right next to 1 million subscribers, and then YouTube helped him get across that finish line of 1 million. And we know that we're right next to a milestone, and YouTube's not doing the same for us. So we're wondering why, obviously, but overall, we know we'll get there, but at the same time, throughout May, we even asked our audience to create videos. My team, on my behalf, asked our audience to create videos and submit them to us, so that way you can be included in our 100,000 subscriber special. That video was expected to premiere June 1st when we hit it, when we hit 100,000. But now that's delayed. We have it all ready. It's all finished, uploaded to YouTube, ready to go, but it's been waiting for months to air. So that's kind of been hard. When we see a recession, we know that it's not our fault that we're not doing anything wrong. Like that, the good part about all this data is we know we're not doing anything terrible on our channel. It's not that we're creating bad thumbnails or bad videos. Literally, we have all the data that we can ever possibly imagine. I mean, we do a yearly survey on our audience, and we know hundreds of millions of data points from Google that Google and YouTube give us on who our audience members are, who watches our content. We know the gender, your sexuality. We know, what country you live in. Literally, we know a lot about our viewers, and that's needed. And you might say, well, Matt, that's a little creepy. Like, no, it's not. It's literally what every channel you watch has data behind it. Every channel you watch on YouTube, YouTube gives the creator as much demographic and psychographic information as they possibly can, so that you as a creator can make better decisions on what videos to do in the future. How is your audience going to react to a video about bisexual content? Well, a majority of the LGBTQ is bisexual, so it might react well. How well is it going to react to doing a video about transgender topics? All of these things are things that we have the data on. We do a yearly report on our audience of what you want to see. We ask you, what subjects do you like to watch? What sort of topics do you like watching? We ask you for topic ideas in that survey, so that way it not only brings topic ideas to our suggested list for our producers to work with, but it also brings to light, hey, if a lot of people are asking for the same thing here or about the same thing, maybe we should do that video. Now, typically, we hold our best ideas, our best video topics, and we hold them back for June and July, because we know June and July are going to be extremely high in viewership and subscription levels. So let's hold our best ideas until then, when basically YouTube wants the best ideas. So we hold back a lot. And this year we held back a lot of great ideas for YouTube recession to happen, basically. But we know enough about our audience that literally anytime we create a script for an episode, my team and I behind the scenes can pretty well bet within a reasonable margin of error how many people are going to watch that video in the first week. After that, it's on the YouTube recommended list, and we don't really know how to predict that yet, but we know enough about our core audience of our subscribers to know how many people are going to click on this video if we create this topic. For instance, when we create a bisexual topic, we know about 86% of our audience is going to click on that. That's great, Now, when we know all these numbers, and we know within a reasonable margin of error how many views that video will get in the first week, it is very difficult to know all of this data on the community, and then YouTube doesn't put it out to our audience. And you might ask why that happens. You subscribe to a channel, and you're not being told when we post a video. First off, you should know we post new videos every Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Friday, 9 a.m., no matter what. Except for like one time, I think. But Friday's 9 a.m. So if you don't see it in your subscription feed come up, that Powered by Rainbows came up with a new channel, a new video, then hey, let's check out and search for Powered by Rainbows and find their channel, find that new video every Friday at 9 a.m. That's what you should know. But a lot of people don't do that. And YouTube isn't really putting content in front of you because they don't have the advertising dollars to do it. Let me put it simply. Let's say you are YouTube, okay? I upload a video to your platform, but you don't have the money from advertisers to take that video and put it in front of an audience member. So you just keep the video on your platform and wait for advertisers to sponsor anything, right? Advertising works like that. If you don't have the money to put out a story, you don't put out the story. You have it available on your website, but until the advertisers are there, YouTube's algorithm doesn't really push that content to users because it doesn't have the money to do that. If YouTube's algorithm isn't going to make money in advertising dollars to put that content in front of people, it's not going to put that content in front of people, no matter how many subscribers you have. That's why we see Mr. Beast losing viewership and 32% of his viewership. That's why we see every metric losing viewership except for hate groups, because they don't rely on advertising dollars, right? So when it comes to PBR, we have 97,000 subscribers, and that's why, we don't have 97,000 views on every video. It's because YouTube doesn't have the money to put it in front of 97,000 people, right? So it's kind of a difficult platform to work with when there's not advertisers abundant on the platform. There's another part of this issue, is that when you hit 100,000 subscribers, all of a sudden you are able to get sponsors on your videos a lot easier. Right now, we as a channel have to find LGBTQ-friendly businesses that want to sponsor an episode of ours, that reach out to us with our email address and reach out and say, hey, we want to sponsor an episode. We want to get our product or service or our school in front of literally 97,000 people in a week. We want to do that. And we want to pay you to put an ad in one of your videos. That's what we have to wait for advertisers. We have to advertise to advertisers to do that. We have to advertise to small businesses and organizations and schools and say, hey, if you want to be seen by 97,000 people next week, give us a couple bucks and we'll put an ad in one of our episodes, right? Right now, that's how the process works. But after 100,000, YouTube helps with that. YouTube opens up another part of their website and helps brands connect with content creators. It's a program called Brand Connect. And literally it helps brands that are big, massive corporations connect with content creators like us so that they can put ads on our videos a lot easier through this Brand Connect program. Now, of course, YouTube takes a cut of that too, because what on their platform don't they take a cut on? But it helps us connect with bigger content and bigger platforms. But only after 100,000. Literally all of these programs to put merchandise under our videos, to put our own merchandise under our videos, to get brands to connect with us and put literally sponsorships in our videos, to get advertising revenue on our channel in general, get memberships. All of these are at higher levels of you need a certain number of subscribers to get that part of the website and get access to that. Why? Like, I get after 1,000, you need a certain level where 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time, which, by the way, if you're a YouTube Shorts creator, the 4,000 hours of watch time is not counted with YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts does not currently count towards that 4,000 hours of watch time. Interesting. But besides that, once you hit that threshold of 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time, you're a part of YPP. You're a part of YouTube's partnership program. Why doesn't everything open up to you all at once? I don't understand that. Because the smaller your channel is, the more need you have to connect with brands, the more need you have to literally have your own merchandise underneath your videos, the more need you have to have memberships on your channel to support your work even more, because you're not getting enough advertising revenue because you're not getting millions of views every video yet because you're not a huge creator. So the smaller subscription levels you have, the more need you have for other forms of income to make your content able to be produced. It costs, like I said, tens of thousands of dollars a year to make this content work on PBR. And other channels are even more expensive than that. This is not simply set up a camera in the corner in my bedroom and record for a couple minutes and make a funny little video. This is not that. Education content is a lot more difficult to make. Family-friendly content, lifestyle content. I mean, lifestyle is mostly just vlogs, but when we look at education, gaming is even hard to make, more than you might assume. I know a lot of people just set up a camera and game for a couple hours. That's not the way real gamers on the platform do it. Jelly, Slogo, Neebs Gaming, they do it way more complex. It is a science to how their videos are actually produced, and a very big expense because they have massive teams behind the channel to help them. When we look at news, that is extremely expensive to make. You need dozens of researchers behind that to make it work well. For a channel like ours, we have a team of over 30 some individuals who help with our content, who help every single week research, write, produce, and film, shoot, and edit these episodes. 30 some people. Like, that is not easy to have a team that large, or even have the networks capable of having all of us communicate 24/7. That is not easy. It's not cheap to have this, you know? And so you need these tools as a smaller creator more than you need them as a larger creator. People are going to reach out to Mr. Beast. Big companies are going to reach out to Mr. Beast and say, hey, I want to advertise on your channel, because they're big enough to do that. People aren't reaching out to PBR because we're only at 100,000 subscribers, you know? That's just not going to happen. Like, you're not going to get these massive corporations to give us advertising dollars like you would Mr. Beast. And so you think about it, why are these at a certain increment of, like, you need these barriers of entry for these programs? And you ask yourself, we've been a couple thousand subscribers away from hitting this Brand Connect program where we could increase our revenue and basically enable our team to do much bigger projects in the future because of that Brand Connect program. But we're sitting in a spot where we're literally not gaining many subscribers a month because YouTube doesn't want to put our content in front of other people to get those subscribers because it's not making the revenue off of our videos. It makes it difficult. And so the recession is why, I mean, we've sat here for months wondering what we're doing wrong. Creators across the board have wondered what they're doing wrong. Creators like Jelly, Slogo, Linus Tech Tips, a lot of other channels have really changed the dynamic of how they operate on YouTube. And they're all making videos on how much they're changing, and people are going, why are all these channels, my favorite channels across YouTube, why are they all changing at once? And it's because the recession, it's because of YouTube Shorts program, it's because of these barriers to entry, and it's because hate groups have sort of taken over. No matter what happens, as terrible of a recession as we might be in right now, it is going to get worse before it gets better. And as a person in a relationship with my boyfriend and I are kind of hoping this recession ends as quickly as possible because, YouTube is my full-time job. This is everything for me, And so I'm not making as much revenue as him because of this entire recession. But at the same time, we kind of hope this recession hits as hard as possible because we're looking for a house in the next year. And so house prices have to go down. And we really would love house prices to go crazy down before we try to buy a house in the next year. So it's kind of been weird of hoping the recession hits hard and hoping the recession gets better as quickly as possible. So that's sort of been our mentality. But it's been an extremely draining on my mental health and my entire team's mental health, because we've been thinking for how long this is our fault. YouTube keeps putting it on our analytics screen saying, hey, maybe you should just improve your content. Maybe you should just pick a better topic next time. Maybe you should just, they've even come out with a new tool on the analytics screen of helping you find better topics for your videos. Literally, they're creating all these tools to help you make better thumbnails, make better content, help you edit your videos better. Maybe you need to learn how to speak on camera better. All these sort of tips that they're coming out with. But at the end of the day, we're in a recession. It's not the creator's fault we're in a recession. It's not the creator's fault their videos aren't doing well. It's the entire economy of how the world is working right now. Advertisers aren't bringing in money. So they're not going to spend as much money on advertising for their products when they're not bringing in as much revenue. And so you wonder, why isn't YouTube saying this? Why isn't YouTube saying, hey, there's a recession right now. It's not your fault as a creator. It's just the economy of how it works. So don't go crazy. It's not your fault. Instead, YouTube is saying, hey, here are ways to improve your content over and over and over again, when in truth, it's not your fault. We've reached out to their team many times to ask what we're doing wrong, and they can't come up with anything. Their best answer was, well, maybe people right now are on vacation. They're on vacation for 3 months? That's your best answer? No. The recession is happening. Politicians don't want to say the word recession because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but, it is a recession. We're in a recession right now. Creators are hurting, and while a recession was bound to happen after the pandemic, because we had a very booming economy for a while there, recession is bound to happen after that. Every reaction comes with an equal and opposite reaction, so we were bound to hit a recession. It's just a matter of how hard that was going to hit. With inflation as high as it is, because big corporations want as much profit as possible, it's going to hit hard. And because of that, the entire YouTube platform is going to suffer. TikTok is going to suffer. Facebook, Instagram, every social media platform is going to suffer right now because we're in a recession. YouTube decided, on top of that recession, let's put in a YouTube Shorts program that hurts all of the longer form creators and instead incentivizes people to just watch 1-minute videos. They're working on the algorithm to help those short form 1.5 billion users watching YouTube Shorts. They're trying to make the algorithm so that you, as a user of the content, want to go over to see the longer form content, but they have not fixed the algorithm to do that yet. They're working on it. The head of the algorithm team has said that they're working on it, but they're only working on it now. When YouTube Shorts program was invented and put out in April. It's been months, So maybe work a little bit faster, I'm hoping. But with the recession, YouTube Shorts program, and all of this combined, it's no wonder why the only groups to actually succeed right now on this platform are hate groups that do not rely on advertising revenue. They do not rely on YouTube Shorts to get their content out. It is the reason why hate groups are spreading like crazy on YouTube. You might have seen more of their content than you did pro-LGBTQ content. You might have seen more hate group content than family-friendly content because YouTube just lets them run away with all of their hate speech. And it's kind of been annoying to a lot of people, especially the people like PBR, who wants to provide a safe space, and it's difficult when we're having to ban more users and more hate speech than we are allowing comments on our channel. Because there's so many hate groups, so much hate in the world that is coming out right now. And you have way more conservative voices being empowered by what's happening in government, like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis decides, he's going to be a superior dictator of the state of Florida, And so all of a sudden you have a bunch of conservatives following him going, hey, I can raise my voice too. No, you shouldn't. Like, yes, you should have free speech, but not on a platform like YouTube. When you're on a platform like YouTube, Facebook, any social media platform, you go by YouTube rules. You go by Facebook's rules. Private companies have the ultimate authority over their own social media platform, not the government. The government does not fund YouTube. It does not own YouTube. So it being not a government program means you don't have free speech on YouTube. And so we've had to delete more people because YouTube isn't doing that part for us. And rather than, I don't know, saying, you know what, maybe we're not going to make money right now off of pushing creators. Maybe right now we're not going to make as much revenue off of pushing channels like Powered by Rainbows or others that are hurting badly right now. Rather than making money off, rather than just pushing it out and saying, you know what, if we get this channel views right now, that means that creator will get more subscribers as a result because we're putting them in front of more eyes. And so eventually, whenever advertisers start bringing in revenue again and start advertising on YouTube again, that creator is now much larger of a platform in the future, so that way it's easier to advertise on their network. And so now that audience is built up massive, so that way whenever advertisers are ready for that and ready to put money into YouTube again, we now have way more platforms to put that money on. Rather than playing the long game here at YouTube, they're playing the short game and just going, you know what, if we're not making enough revenue, we can't push anything other than those that don't rely on advertising revenue. So right now, the only channels that are really succeeding are YouTube Shorts and hate groups. And YouTube Shorts creators have sort of become everyone. And we've all been told as long-form content creators, just create more shorts. That'll help your long-form content. And then their algorithm doesn't actually help our long-form content. So why did we go and create shorts? Just to compete with a program and an app called TikTok that does it much better. People became users of YouTube for a reason. And that reason was they wanted longer form content, conversations, debates, and they wanted what YouTube had and did so well. YouTube is the second largest platform on the entire internet around the world, second only to Google. And Google owns YouTube. Why did they change? And why right now, in the middle of what could be the worst recession in United States history, is YouTube saying, hey, here are 100 ways to improve your content, meanwhile hiding the fact that there's a recession causing them not to push their content out to anyone. This is the recession's fault. A lot of content creators are mad right now, and a lot of content creators are blaming YouTube. A lot of content creators are blaming the Shorts program, which it does have to do with that, but a lot of creators are blaming themselves. Our mental health went crazy over the past couple months trying to figure out what we were doing wrong. Turns out we're not doing anything wrong. We're providing accurate educational content as we've always done. And we're failing because there was a recession. It's not that our content changed. Our topics are just as good. We've researched all of the topics through every piece of data we have on who our audience is and what they want to see. It's not that the content is bad. It's not that the thumbnails or the titles are bad. It's not that the videos are too long or too short. It's that we're going through a recession. There's no advertising dollars to go around. That's what it is. And so I'm kind of asking YouTube, why on our analytics screen are we not seeing that reflected? Why, when that little icon appears above our analytics graph, are we not saying, hey, it's not your fault? Recently, they came out with an entire YouTube safety program to help you with your mental health and to help you overcome hate on the entire platform. Okay, but where's the part to say there's a recession happening and it's not your fault? That's all we're asking. So here's the thing. If you like what we're doing here at Powered by Rainbows and you want to help support us, our new website is live right now, prideclassroom.com. Go there, check it out. Go check out all of our blog posts. Go check out all of our resources for schools. Go check out our masterclasses for organizations, for schools, for teachers. Go check out our educational content over there where we teach you everything about the LGBTQ community. Go support us on Patreon or become a member of ours on YouTube right down here by hitting join on this video. You can help us by donating to PBR directly on our website. Just go to our website and we have an entire page full of ways you can support us. Go to pbrmerchstore.com to find tons of merchandise that you can have for yourself, that you can get rainbow merchandise. Brand new designs for the summer that just came out, and you can get them right now, and that really does help support us. But it also gives you something in return for that. So that's really the best way to support us if you want to support us. We have all of those linked down below, all of those ways to support us and help us in our educational content in the future and providing weekly LGBTQ education and resources to 7 million people worldwide. We would love your help in doing that, and we are kind of really badly needing some help right now to make future content to help more people. So please, if you can, help us. But if you just want to help us in other ways, just subscribe to our channel and share this channel with other people, because we do try our best to provide the most accurate information we can. And recently it's been very difficult because hate groups have decided to just take over the entire platform. So, it's been fun, but it's also behind the scenes. There's a lot more going on than you'll ever know. I will say that in the future, we're going to change our content to doing more content that we want to do. If YouTube isn't going to give us the views anyway, because there's not enough advertising dollars to give them views, we're going to change our content to reflect what we want to do. For a long time now, I've been chasing views, I've been chasing subscribers, and only doing episodes if it would bring in the views and the revenue. I'm tired of chasing numbers, and I think it's been reflected in our content. I haven't been as happy making our content recently because it's literally been a system of how well is this topic going to do, and that's it. If it wasn't going to perform well, we weren't going to do it. Now, I want to make the content that I want to make. So we're starting a podcast with my boyfriend. Hopefully you'll see that in the coming weeks here. We're going to cover a much wider array of LGBTQ topics. Typically, we only covered gay topics a majority of our episodes because it did better. And you know what? Now, YouTube's not going to give us the revenue or the views anyway, so I might as well make content that a majority of the audience wants to see and that you want to learn about and that more fringes of the community want to see. So I'm just tired of chasing views. And this entire episode that I wanted to do this week was letting you in on the data that it's not just PBR hurting, it is content creators across the board. It is content creators in every single genre on YouTube except for YouTube Shorts and hate groups specifically. It's a shame that those two are doing so well when everyone else is hurting, but this is to show you that, hey, we're changing our content, here's why, and I think you can understand if you're spending 40 hours every single week looking at numbers and making one episode a week. 40 hours. Our entire team works for 40 hours a week to make each and every episode. That's a lot of manpower to make one video. And that's what we do every week. And if we're going to spend that time and effort, we might as well make that video that we want to make, that the videos that we wanted to see as kids growing up as LGBTQ people, that we wanted to learn about as kids but never could because our classrooms left it out of the school. Because our schools left it out of their classroom, I should say. But we might as well make that content that schools leave out of their classrooms and fulfill our promise to you as our viewers, rather than just creating content that pertains to the LGBTQ community, but at the same time is chasing views. And I'm tired of that. So yes, there's a creator recession happening right now. There's a recession in America happening right now. There's a YouTube Shorts program killing a lot of longer form creators off. There's a lot of programs that are set up as barriers of entry. And yes, YouTube isn't really conveying that message to their creators yet and telling them it's not your fault you're failing right now. It's the recession. It's what happens right now. Everyone's hurting right now. Businesses are hurting right now. But every channel on YouTube, except for hate groups, are hurting right now. And it's just the way it's going to be. So if you're hurting as a content creator right now, that's probably why. It's probably attributed to one of those major 3 things I talked about. So it's not your fault. And just keep doing whatever you're doing, and just try making content that you want to see. That's what we're going to do, because that's what we started this channel to do in the first place. It's why people subscribed, and hopefully in the future, people will keep watching because it's content that we like and we enjoy making again. So we hope you join us back here every single Friday in the future on PBR, because we do have new episodes coming out every Friday, believe it or not. Even if YouTube doesn't put it in your subscription feed, we have content coming out every single Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Plus, we have Trivia Tuesdays over on our community tab, where we ask you LGBTQ questions every Tuesday about something about the community or history, anything about the LGBTQ, and we ask you a trivia question every Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday you get the answer along with a new question. So we have a lot of great programs coming very, very soon that I'm enjoying the process of making those new ways that we can help the community, and I hope you enjoy them too. So join us back here every Friday. If you learned something, give this video a like, comment, subscribe, share this video with others, share our channel with others if you want to support us. And like I said, if you really want to help support what we do here at PBR, you can become a member. You can get some merchandise at pbrmerchstore.com. You can go to prideclassroom.com right now and check out all of our ways to support our channel, as well as just check out tons of more resources and education over there at prideclassroom.com. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and good luck in creating content in the future. We certainly will try our best to create as much as possible, and this time we're going to enjoy doing it again. So we'll see you next week. Bye for now.